From Arkansas.
Yeah, reserving the right to object, which I most certainly will do, I'll just address what the senator from Illinois said. He said he's heard no explanation for why I'm objecting to every Department of Justice nominee moving forward on a fast-track basis. That's false. He's heard my explanation repeatedly. He may not like it, but he's heard it. I'm taking this stance on behalf of 4 brave U.S. Marshals who defended the federal courthouse in Portland from left-wing street militias associated with the BLM movement and Antifa. In the summer of 2020, this was part of riots all across our country. But in Portland, these riots were particularly dangerous. Marshals were targeted with lasers to blind them, with ball bearings, with fireworks. There were efforts to barricade them inside the courthouse and set it on fire to burn them alive. These marshals are heroes, and they should be celebrated. Anyone who says they support law enforcement should be defending these marshals. Yet, not surprisingly, left-wing activists and left-wing organizations like the ACLU are coming to the defense of the left-wing street militia that attacked these marshals and tried to burn down the Portland courthouse, suing marshals on frivolous grounds. Many of these marshals are being defended by the Department of Justice, as is the Department of Justice's long-standing custom and practice to either provide representation for its law enforcement officers when they are sued in court, or if there is some conflict, to reimburse them and pay their legal fees. 4 marshals are not being defended, though. These 4 marshals are GS-11s, GS-13s. They've been serving our country for a lifetime. Many of them are veterans of foreign wars. They face financial bankruptcy and ruin because the Department of Justice won't represent them. In many cases, won't even give them an answer or explain why the representation was denied. Well, when I learned of this, I demanded answers. And the Department of Justice had no answers. So if my colleagues think that I'm going to just roll out the red carpet for Department of Justice nominees to be confirmed to politically connected positions while GS-11s and GS-13s are hung out to dry, they have another thing coming. Now, some of you may say, well, maybe there's investigations underway. Maybe these officers engaged in misconduct. We don't know. They won't give us an answer. But here's what we do know. All 4 of them, all 4, are currently on unrestricted active duty. Unrestricted active duty. And I would add, all four are in the Special Operations Group for the Marshal Service, which means to say they are the marshals who are most likely to be deployed nationwide and put in circumstances that risk their lives and call for them to use violence, to include lethal violence. Now, I don't know the circumstances that led to the denial of representation of these 4 marshals, or why some of them are being strung along, but I have to assume that if they are on unrestricted active duty in the Special Operations Group for the Marshal Service, that Merrick Garland and Vanita Gupta can't have any doubts about their fitness to serve or their action for all those weeks in Portland when they defended the courthouse from left-wing street militias. Now, I understand my colleagues want to get their U.S. attorneys or the U.S. Marshals confirmed. Maybe there's people at Maine Justice they want to get confirmed as well. That's very simple. We could do it today. We could hear from Merrick Garland or Vanita Gupta that they will defend these 4 U.S. Marshals in court. Or we could hear a satisfactory answer of why they won't defend the marshals in court. Is it because they were standing up to a left-wing street militia? Is it because they were taking a stance to defend federal property from Antifa? I don't know. We can't get an answer. Maybe my Democratic colleagues could get an answer. But to think that I'm just going to roll over and allow the Senate to fast-track nominees to the department when GS-11s and GS-13s, law enforcement professionals are being hung out to dry? Sorry. These are people, and I've talked to them, who were worried about buying Christmas gifts for their children last year because they were going to have to pay legal fees, who worry about paying the mortgage next month, who worry about sending their kids to camp. Sorry if your lawyers have to wait for a week or two to get confirmed to the U.S. Attorney's position. I'm worried about 4 heroes who defended federal property from left-wing street militias. So yeah, I do object. I'm surprised to hear the Senator of Illinois continue to refer to this as a political issue or a political story when we have career law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line to defend federal property from left-wing street militias, and they're worried if they can put food on the table for their children, if they can buy them gifts at Christmas, if they can put braces on them, if they can send them to summer camp. I don't consider that a political issue. I consider it standing up for law enforcement. Not just these 4, but every deputy marshal around the country who forms the backbone of the Marshal Service. The backbone of the Marshal Service all across the country, who have to wonder if maybe they're going to be the next one to be hung out to dry by the Department of Justice, if they confront a rioter with the wrong politics. It's not a political issue. Now, the senator from Illinois continues to speak about confidentiality and attorney-client privilege, as if this is all information that's been communicated to these 4 marshals, and they just don't want to share it with us here in the Senate. That's not the case. 3 of them, I would say, haven't heard anything. In a lawsuit that's almost 18 months old, they've been told nothing yet. That's why they've had to go out and retain their own counsel. 1 of them was denied representation with no more basis than saying it's not in the interest of the United States of America. Well, forgive me if I don't trust Vanita Gupta to determine what is in the interest of the United States when it comes to defending law enforcement. These marshals are told that these determinations are final and there is no appeal and there is no recourse. Well, I'm the recourse now. The senator from Illinois keeps talking about these urgent law enforcement needs. In his own state of Illinois, I would point out that the position that is empty has been empty since 2018. If it was so urgent, the senator of Illinois could have cooperated with the Trump administration and tried to fill it then. Or these U.S. attorney positions that are empty. President Biden fired all U.S. attorneys a year ago. If it was so urgent to have Senate-confirmed U.S. attorneys in position, he could have asked them to continue to serve until he was able to find suitable replacements. The senator from Illinois also said, well, Senator Cotton got his letter responded to. I'm not looking for some courtesy exchange of letters here. I'm trying to protect 4 U.S. Marshals who defended the Portland courthouse from a left-wing street militia who have been hung out to dry, imperiling the confidence of all marshals across the country in whether or not their political leadership at the Department of Justice will back them up when they're in a controversy. And the department still won't answer that. They won't take any steps to answer it. They simply hide behind confidentiality and privilege, just like they're hiding behind it with these 4 U.S. Marshals. After 18 months, what's so complicated? As the senator from Illinois said, they are representing 70 others. What makes these 4 so different? Maybe they engaged in misconduct? Is that possible? Given the fact that they're all on unrestricted active duty, in the Special Operations Group, the element of the marshals most likely to have to use violence to include lethal violence? Would Merrick Garland and Vanita Gupta really send them back out on the streets if they had engaged in misconduct in Portland? These marshals deserve better. And they could get better if the Department of Justice would just agree to represent them, or if they would give a satisfactory, fact-based answer about why they're not representing them. Maybe some of my Democratic colleagues could call Merrick Garland or Vinita Gupta and ask them for such an answer. Or maybe just call them and say, why don't you represent these four marshals? That seems like the obvious, satisfactory outcome for everyone here. U.S. Marshals are represented in court as they should be, and we can go back to fast-tracking Department of Justice nominees. But until we get to that outcome, we won't be fast-tracking department nominees, because I will continue to stand up for these brave men of law enforcement who deserve better from this Department of Justice.